they win. Fnatic did it the last time, Fnatic won. Norangu started it, Norangu won. Everyone's just winning when you start the Norangu dances. So, or Norangu, excuse me.
All right, guys, well, we're getting into it now. We've got the bands coming in on our first map of the series on Coastline between Spacestation and Team Empire. A slot in the playoffs is on the line, as well as a higher seeded position going into the quarterfinals, as this is the upper bracket exit point for the team that wins this matchup. Ash, the target ban, coming out there from Spacestation, specifically meant to target Joystick and eliminate his potential in this matchup.
Yeah, and here's the one thing that no one really understands about this Ash ban. The main thing is that when you take it away from Joystick, it hurts him quite a bit. He's not nearly the player that he is when he has it. Rampy can basically do the exact same thing on any other 2/3 speed operator. So he's very proficient with his operator choices. Actually, most notably, his most proficient operator being Glass, and it's actually going to make it through ban phase.
On Coastline as well, which is a map where I feel like he can have a whole lot of utility uses, a lot of windows for him to play off of, in addition to the smokes in general that he's going to have for usefulness. So we should definitely expect to see him coming into the fold. Maybe not on the first round, but definitely something that they're going to try and sneak in if at all possible. Pix will not show it coming in for the first round, as it's looking like the guys on Empire that'll start off on defense. We'll go to Hookah and Billiards to start things off. 6-pick is going to be utilized by Karzeka to go over to the Bandit. And I think Redeemer is deciding if he wants to use his currently, but we'll decide against it.
Had a conversation with Rampy back at our hotel here in Montreal. He said he really enjoyed being back on the role of Buck. He used to play Buck quite a bit when he was on Noble. Noble now Orgless, if you didn't know that. Rampy used to be on there when they initially got into Pro League and then got picked up by SSG. He really hadn't donned the mantle of Buck for quite a while. But finally, as rosters, well, excuse me, the roster move has went around SSG, at least with operators and so on and so forth for their roles, he has gotten to pick that back up. And so far, it's really shown how effective he can be.
So, Hookah and Billiards will be the initial site to start things off here on the second floor, where Team Empire wants to take it first. You'll often see a large amount of the focus on this round being just outside the door where Scyther's at now. The attackers choose to take that route. Potential for them to push into the windows that's in the room behind Scyther, which would be over here in the Billiards room. Or another option open to Space Station. They can push from the complete other side of the building. Slowly clear things out from that direction too. A lot more options here on Coastline to approach the actual take of the building, which makes it sometimes a little bit, well, slightly more attacker favored than some of the other maps in the pool.
The main thing that they're going to be concerned for the defense here is Rampy on that Buck. He's going to be able to open up a lot of sight lines, able to hold down a lot of angles with that ACOG and the C8, as well as the verticality here. He is able to get downstairs. This could lead to disaster. His Joystick is playing his most proficient operator on the defense, Jaeger.
Rampy going to continue to move in just a moment here. Meanwhile, Joystick, of course, running around on the Jaeger. Love seeing the going down there. And Joystick, and meanwhile, we'll get the first phone call thrown at him. There's already an attempt to hunt him down. Rampy can hear the noise down the hallway, and it does look like Joystick wants to play against it. He's being harassed by Redeemer's drone, and it works as a perfect distraction to allow Rampy to walk right up to the kill hall and take him out of the fight.
Looks like SSG has not missed a beat since yesterday against Rogue, looking like the exact same Space Station Gaming roster that was absolutely electric during that Rogue match yesterday.
Just getting a drone into position to more so flank watch than anything else there on the top of the stairs. Will probably go unnoticed by anyone on Team Empire should they choose to take that route. I don't think there's much of a threat from that, though, because I don't think they have too much outside sight presence on that side of the map on the first floor, besides Joystick, who, of course, has already been handled. Besides that, it seems like they've got at least 3 players playing around the site, and probably one, no, all 4, in fact, are near the site here, playing to the inside of it, waiting for that eventual push to come in from SSG.
Drone activated.
SSG will stack up bodies inside of luggage. Drone going to come out from Rampy. Yes, he does it all, folks. You don't always have to be just a fragger. You can definitely, pull out your own drones, and I feel like some people kind of miss that sometimes in their own games. But he is going to jump onto the drone, as Redeemer is actually playing Zofia. Haven't seen that too often. Redeemer usually is the Fragmite, myriad of other support characters, but this time picking up Zofia with her lifeline as he puts that to good use onto the side as he will impact yet another hole. Switch things over to concussions as he will begin the execute onto site.
Might have been specifically for this site, so I'll have to see if he sticks with this or carries over in a future round. They're definitely going for a very utility-focused attack right now, trying to move themselves in through billiards. Obviously, run into a few issues. They're still stuck in Aquarium. This is oftentimes where teams end up getting stuck on this map and are unable to complete their push. That is going to become a problem for SSG, as they're only got about 10 seconds left. Not only that, but the C4s haven't even used it. The first one misses, and look at this. Spacestation pounce, 3 kills coming out of absolutely nowhere. 2 from Thicknade, 1 from Bosco. Scyther able to trade it, but now he's left alone in this situation. The diffuser now gone down. It's all on a Scyther to bring it back. Locked into a 1v4 scenario. He's got 2 players incredibly low, but 0 post-plan intel. He will be able to catch the Dokkaebi on the way back out. There's the first, but a long way to go. Sees the shots from behind him on the stairs, just outside of the big window there. Wraps back in. He's missed the player to his left, just inside of the hallway, but no, corrects it. Just in time, we'll find the kill there. One more tap will finish off for Teamer. Unfortunately, he's running out of ammo on the ult, and not a phrase you hear too often, but he will have time for the reload. He needs to speed up these kills, though, if he wants this clutch, as he's very quickly running out of time. And as a reminder, it's a longer diffuse timer. Here in the Pro League rule set, it just seems like he can't get it done. SSG play passive enough to wait out the time, and Rampy finally finds the final kill of the round.
Beautifully executed by SSG there. A little bit of a toss almost at the end, as Scyther was starting to come back, but what do you expect from that Alda? The gun's an absolute monster. 3 separate gunfights, didn't even have to reload. I mean, that's really just the story of that gun as a whole. But on the other side of things, Spacestation, very fine execute coming out from them. A myriad of different ways that they handle that situation. Got control of the VIP hallway as well as their push onto luggage. Getting rid of that evil eye underneath of the billiards table was a massive thing for Redeemer, as well as keeping the smoke concussed to where they could get the plant down early on enough. Just a million different things that they had going on there.
Much like what we were seeing from Fnatic almost.
Yeah, I was actually going to make that, but yeah, I think it's too early. I don't know.
Well, we'll have to see how future rounds go, but that execute very much reminded me of Fnatic, of what we were seeing back in the first game. These really explosive executes. I mean, it comes down to like 10 or 15 seconds. Looks like there's no way they're going to be able to get in time, and then all of a sudden, 3-4 kills pop up on the board, and they somehow win that situation.
This is wild to me that can happen. Because, you know what I mean? Like, we casually play the game. It's like, oh, there's 15 seconds left. There's nothing.
We're not winning this, boys.
Yeah. Yeah. It's over, boys. Back up your bag.
Get ready for the next one.
Yeah, exactly. Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Yeah, but no, I mean, not for Fnatic, not for SSG. These guys, I mean, it honestly, you know what it really reminds me of?
What's that?
Reminds me of Vitality. The reason being that there is a famous quote by the famous Canadian Parker and Taro Mackay, in which there's 3 things that are true in the world: death, taxes, and that Vitality will push in the last 30 seconds. And it seems to be that might be coming back.
With multiple teams as well, and for multiple regions, it would seem, especially Space Station shows us something like that in a future round. And that wasn't just a one-time thing. We had Fnatic doing that constantly. In fact, it was almost every single attacking round they were forced into a situation like that, but it oftentimes would work for them. So we'll see if Space Station want to adopt the same policy, or they're going to favor more faster and safer timed executes for their own strategies. To start, once again, it's going to be a bit of a slow lead up for the guys on SSG. Barely even entering the building just as of yet. Already using up about a minute on their timer here. They won't spend most of that droning out the top floor, figuring out where the setup is going to go. Obviously, as those of you who know the game will have saw, we are going to be playing on the same site we were in the last round. And the setup from the defenders is pretty much exactly the same, especially when it comes to utility positioning. So Scyther's Evil Eyes, I believe, are both in the same exact spot. That should be the same for pretty much the most of the utility there on Empire right now.
A bomb has been located.
Rampy going to continue his play on Buck since Ash is banned. Ash is actually his most played operator on the offense. But again, like I said earlier, he is no stranger to some good old-fashioned Buck play. That skeleton key is so useful in so many instances. And it looks like they will be addressing this the exact same way. Chala, Rampy, Luggage Hallway, name a better duo, I'll wait.
In fact, I think we're actually going to see more players grouping up down the hallway to add extra pressure here. Last round, if I recall, it was only 2 or 3 players that pushed in from here. Because this time, it's going to be the whole squad trying to go.
Loading concussion.
And once again, they'll use Zofia as their primer. She'll have to move in. Spots the Evil Eye. Again, like I said, same spot, so it's not going to be too much trouble for Redeemer to just knock that out once again.
And another one. He got them both.
Did he actually?
Yes, he actually impacted that one over inside of the hookah.
Just knew where it was already, yeah.
It's played out.
Yeah, pretty much. Bit predictable there, of course, with Scyther, like we said, putting him in the same exact positions, and I think it was safe to assume that that would have been the case, considering he knocked out the first one on the same spot. So once again, finds at the phone call. Not coming out just yet. He still has both of them as well. Scyther, though, finding that first kill, but it's short-lived as Rampy is able to trade it back by knocking out Joystick. As you would expect, though, both the Nitro Cells, or all the Nitro Cells that would still be alive here on Team Empire, are still in the fold, so they do have to be careful of that. But Scyther picks off another one from the Cool Vibe stairs. Now, we've got Thinking Nade, however, sneaking in, but his play is short-lived as well. Immediately traded out by Shock. The plant, though, might sneak its way, and he's going to force the issue. It looks like he's actually being affected by the smoke too heavily. It goes down onto the ground. Post-plant positions are not going to be anywhere near as strong as they were in the last round, though, so Empire still has a real chance to bring themselves back into this one and tie it up at 1-1.
A massive kill as you guys saw Shepard get taken out by Redeemer. It's all left up to Chala and Redeemer for SSG to try and clutch this up. It's a 2v2 against two of the most hard-set defender ops. As Shockwave will take the, Shockwave will take the peak. Just hasn't, cut down to Shock. But Redeemer will win that from behind bar, and yet another round goes SSG's way. They're starting this one off pretty hot.
Definitely the case. 2 wins in a row now on the Hookah Billiard sites, which means more than likely Empire should be moving on to another one. However, I say that, Empire did in the past at DreamHack Winter play Aviator Games Room on Villa like 4 or 5 times in a row, so that possibility is open. But it won't be the case this time. It looks like they've switched it up over towards the bars, and we'll play the same position, just downstairs instead of on the top floor.
So actually, I'm going to start pulling up these stats from yesterday. I want to see exactly how SSG performed against Rogue yesterday, because we actually did not have the chance to see it ourselves, which was a little bit disappointing, but we were mid-cast. And actually, it appears that Bosco and Thinking Nade both dropped 20 kills overall for that matchup. Just followed up by the rest of their team. Redeemer coming in with 10 overall, Chala coming in with 12 overall, and Rampy coming in with 13 overall. So Rampy actually having the lowest rating of his entire team during that matchup, but I mean, really did not show just due to the fact of Spacestation basically ending Rogue on every side of every map.
Yeah. Again, looking at awesome, very, very impactful players coming out of that, specifically Bosco, who ended up with an 85% cost at the end of that matchup as well.
Insane.
Which is insane indeed. A 1.41 rating, too, which is also pretty high from the ratings I've seen in Siege in the few months that I've been here. So we are going to end up, like we said before, switching down to the downstairs bars this time around. Empire, though, still have to play the upstairs rooms in order to defend this site appropriately, as they can't allow SSG to take this. Once again, the destructible terrain allows for floors and ceilings to be destroyed in addition to walls, meaning that if you can take a room that has destructible floors on top of a site, you can very easily harass the players below or above you
Bomb located by attackers.
by using some soft breach to open those floors and ceilings up.
Thinking Nade will see one of the windows has been broken at the bottom. This is the main thing that you can actually do from outside of the window as well. You can actually punch the lower part of the window and play those very tight little angles with those ACOGs. It's actually a pretty effective strategy, but also it makes it to where the window is one shot, as you will see Chala punch that open. Rampy going to start doing some home improvement on the Sunrise bar as Bosco begins to take over vertical control.
It'll be probably a slow, actually a little bit faster lead up, I would say, this time for SSG. Rampy's already gotten himself to the inside. He's got a nade ready to go. Might sink as well. No, unfortunately, it's going to bounce off the ceiling in a bit of an awkward way. Won't go into the corner where Shepard was positioned. The second one, however, knocks off a little over 30 HP from Scyther, so it does good damage to him. However, no outright kills, so the nades will not be a success. And there we go. The 2 stun grenades moving in, but it won't seem to matter. Both Shepard and Scyther hold the line against Chala and Rampy, taking them both out. Scyther finally meets his end, but it's only temporary. He's been brought into the down state. Redeemer, I believe, will know this. Fortunately, they're not able to kill him, and they're using the dead body as bait now. Shepard able to pick up another kill, catching Redeemer as he tries to push forward. Leaves only 2 alive from Space Station. The first time so far in this map we've seen them run into a wall here. Also buys the time for Scyther to get back up and into the game. However, we'll see Shepard pick up one final kill against Thinking Nade, leaving only Bosco in the fight. The 590 will take care of him, though, as Scyther finishes it off for Empire.
Those SMG 11 kills today have just been so impressive. So
today, it's the whole tournament.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
far.
it's crazy how good they are with the SMG 11. Like, that thing's recoil pattern is just so weird now. And it's just, you know, just minor improvements. But I will say the biggest thing right there is that SSG really just fed the beast that is Empire. They all tried to focus on the one side of Sunrise Bar, walked in and just got eliminated, all trying to focus on Scyther behind the bar. They want to more or less focus on other places to try and take over first. They tried to get, you know, too bottom heavy, I would say. They really didn't focus too much on the upstairs take at all, allowing Empire to really come back on this match.
Not nearly as much of a focus on roam clears as we had seen in the past 2 rounds either, where they're usually able to get at least 1, if not 2 kills off of that. And then you also have just the general lack of successful utility usage. Like we had the stun grenades coming in from Zofia, but that was pretty much about it. The grenades from Rampy didn't find much effectiveness. I don't even know if we ever saw a phone call come out from Chala throughout the course of that. And as a result, as you were mentioning, it was basically just Spacestation feeding directly into Empire's setup, so they were able to shut them down without too much stress that time. We had a couple close shaves with trades, but overall, Team Empire were never at risk of losing either site throughout the course of that round.
Yeah, and actually some very, very cool stats that we just brought up. Ash actually only has an 8% ban rate, but she has a 71.7% pick rate when she's in the match.
Interesting. I mean, the ban rate would, what I would argue would probably like, I would bet like 90% of those bans are against Empire as well.
Probably. She's played 554 rounds, by the way.
Makes sense, because he's very easy to deal with in terms of just, I mean, not really taking her down. It's just some players are so good with her that you need to target ban, and that's exactly what we saw in this instance.
Yeah, there's only a handful that deserve the respect of an Ash ban, and the only 2 really for me are going to be Joystick and Nesk from Liquid.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 that ring in my mind.
It's interesting, though, as you mentioned, though, how imbalanced the stats are with the pick and ban rate, considering her perceived strength amongst the community.
It's just a very, it's a hot button topic, I would say. There's a lot of different opinions on it. But, you know, as they are going to focus up back on top. Last time they went to this site, they won. They've actually won both of their attack rounds attacking this site, and Empire's going to go back to it. Empire not too confident in their kitchen game, apparently. Rampy will start to open things up over inside of Aquarium for the side of SSG. Was halfway through the round here, as they are just now getting intel on site. They still need to disperse a lot of this utility that the defense has dedicated, especially those Evil Eyes. Those are definitely going to come back to bite them. And they've stacked on a couple of Nitro Cells. Can we actually switch over to Bandit, please? I'd really appreciate that, to see if he has a Nitro Cell on him. And yes, he does. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
So we'll be looking to Bandit to try and pull off a Nitro Cell later on in the round. Also begs question, well, we know the answer to this one actually. Because of the Mira ban as well, that also means that Empire probably are not going to feel too confident to go over towards Penthouse, one that kind of heavily relies on Mira to be able to find a lot of early round intel. So with her banned out, Penthouse is a much less appetizing sight to these defenders all of a sudden. I imagine that's probably going to be true for Spacestation as well, but a lot of that comes down to, I think, team's personal preference.
Joystick gonna find a little bit of trouble inside of blue bar, but actually gonna get around Rampy. It's been these 2 going back and forth constantly throughout this map so far, and Joystick gonna come out top, and this, as well as Joystick, will maintain his presence downstairs in office. Chala starting to look to see if he can get aggressive, thinking they're going to get taken out by Scyther. Absolutely ripped apart by that olive. Nitro Cell's not going to make any contact at all. They do have Bosco out on tarps. This might be the big thing to try and take people down. It's going to be Shepard. He's going to get taken down. Chala's going to find one of his own. Joystick trying to make his presence known downstairs. Shockwave will find Chala, though, as Bosco will find another one. That will be a trade back onto Shock. It's a 2v2 situation. Diffuser is down. Definitely winnable by the defense here. Scyther is still alive, though, and the last time he ended up finding 3. It's a very close round. Joystick rotating through luggage as his phone's still ringing. Bosco's going to find him from the roof, though. So you know that Bosco is still on top. He's only got 1 to find, possibly. But no, Bosco will jump down to the aquarium balcony. He's going to see him playing his time in Redeemer. We'll be able to find him from the bar. Beautifully played by Spacestation Gaming.
Yeah, a great setup specifically to get their plant onto the ground there from SSG. Every single player that tried to challenge the defuse plant from Empire was dead within a second of popping up into the open there. That was really good from Spacestation, just have that entire site locked down. Knew exactly where Empire were going to try to push them from, and every single time, I think it was 3 if not 4 players, yeah, I think 3 exactly, just getting locked out entirely there. Never had a chance really to respond. The Space Station going for the plant. Really well secured by them and a much more solid site take. But obviously, Empire, again, not going to try this site for a 4th time unsuccessfully, so they are finally going to change it up over to kitchen and service entrance just to try this out and hope that Space Station's take is not as successful here.
I think the main thing for me right there is the adjustment that SSG made. They lost Rampy pretty early on due to that joystick fight, but that did not stop them from getting the diffuser down. They're playing a heavy diffuser game right now, which is good because we have not seen a lot of pure objective play. Fnatic was more focused on the objective as well. That's why we're starting to see the remnants of, you know, SSG and Fnatic really finagling with each other. But I think the biggest thing for me was that rotation by Bosco over to Purple Tarp. Because without him, Shepard gets those smoke grenades off, and that completely changes that round. Joystick will be able to rotate inside a blue bar and stop the diffuse. But instead, diffuser goes down, Bosco making a huge impact on that round.
So, Empire will have to hope that they can find success here on the kitchen site. Space Station still bringing their standard layout to the table, nothing crazy like a Montaigne or whatnot coming into the vault here to try and force the planet service entrance like we would sometimes see in this matchup. Still going to be playing it straightforward, but they do still have to worry about things like that. We've already seen how successful Space Station and how powerful their general executes have been so far on this map. There's no reason to believe why they can't quickly set something up through the service entry to be able to find a fast plant there.
You see how top-heavy Empire is right here. Scyther has 8 kills, one kind of tailing behind, whereas SSG is more divided out in what's going on. And that's kind of been the tale of the tape so far for this entire LAN for them. Really showed up as well in Rogue. They did get a little bit more top-heavy there during the end where Thinking Nade and Bosco really shined. But besides that, everyone pretty consistent across the board. As Thinking Nade start to show his presence over on double window. They are concerned about the front door, and the main thing that they want to be concerned about with the site is that vertical presence. If they can take over VIP as well as Penthouse, they are in a good spot to try and win this. More than likely, they will have Joystick playing up top to try and defend this, and yes, you can see him over here inside of the theater room.
Joystick still make these moves forward, trying to directly contest Chala in the meanwhile. It's going to be regrouping with the rest of SSG as they start their push, again, primarily to try and isolate out. We're seeing a lot more like we were seeing in the early rounds on roam clearing early on here, since they still have the extra 40 seconds or so before they really have to hard focus on the actual execute. Joystick, though, will still be causing problems for inside of the theater. It doesn't look like the relief is coming anytime soon. They have to try and directly contest him, but it's Karzeka that ends up falling first instead by Redeemer. Joystick, however, still with his presence on the inside of theater, is able to trade it right back. He takes down Chala. Another player has actually gone down from Space Station as well. There, Thatcher, thinking Nate is going to be moving outside to get reset really quickly, so he'll be brought back up. Rezzed by Bosco to keep SSG alive at 4.
Joystick, doing as he usually does, getting aggressive, and he's going to find Rampy once again. Rampy just not ready for this pure aggression that Joystick has. He knows that there's another one up there due to the fact that he did get hit by one of Redeemer's concussions, but Redeemer will find him, and Redeemer has been so consistent on the Sophia so far. Very, very smart play coming out from him throughout all of these rounds that they've won. He's really came down to the clutch multiple times so far. This is definitely showing, once again, as he is going to take out Joystick. Karzeka already down as Vigil as well, so it's really down to just the bare bones sight holders for Empire.
Scyther continuing to look for any pushes that we might see from SSG moving in through the main doorway. With time getting low, the odds of him catching someone increase ever exponentially here. Reminder, Space Station, besides that top control, has barely even moved into the first floor where they actually need to push the site here. Time is not in their favor, and now they are forced to go for the direct walk-in at service entrance and try to plant from there. They have the upstairs control at least, so they are going to be able to stop tomfoolery from that direction, but there's still 3 toxic grenades ready to be tossed out here. And not only that, but Scyther is still alive. Him and Shepard will be able to take down the 2-man push from the inside of the door, and the 3rd man is never even truly seen. Empire hold the kitchen and pick up a 2nd round for themselves.
Very clean hold by Empire right there. Really just got down to time wasted by Space Station. They lagged a little bit behind upstairs, which really came back to bite them later on in the round after they cleared out those roamers. They would have been able to initiate that rotate just a little bit faster. Could have been a different round, but they had to rush their way through the service entrance and immediately got punished for it. Tried to make that bear fruit, but it just more or less bore bullets. That's about it.
Well, I'll have to put the blame on Joystick for that one, as he did a fantastic job of wasting time inside of the penthouse theater area. Picked up 2 kills before eventually getting traded out, but left the players of Spacestation 2 players down, and as well, with only about 30 seconds to actually execute onto a site, which became a big problem for them in that round. At 3-2, Empire are about to tie this up. It's also the final round of the half of them, and their last chance to make an impact on the defensive side here. Scyther still leading the charge in the fragging department, where there's much more of an even situation over on SSG's stats.
And I think the biggest thing for me right now is that Redeemer has been so consistent once again throughout all of these rounds. He's actually bringing up the top of his scoreboard right now, 5-3, and he's actually has the lowest stats overall for the entire season. He's got a .86 rating.
Who is this now?
Whereas Rampy has a 1.31. His mains so far this season have been Capitao and Pulse. So really changing up his playstyle, which, you know, when we did talk to SSG, that was their main thing. Like, we went through a lot of role changes, and we feel really comfortable with what we have going on right now, and it's really showing.
Definitely the case. A few bumps in the road here as Empire has been able to successfully defend 2 of the sites they've played on so far, but SSG has also been able to breach them multiple times, especially when it comes to the upstairs sites. That's all been taken. Hookah and the billiards room, where Space Station has had a much larger degree of success so far.
So drone play will start to come out from SSG, and this seems to be the exact same take and mistake that they made last time, really focusing over here on the north side of the building. As a Nitro Cell will come out, not going to make any contact though. Bosco going to catch him with a nade, and I believe that was a double-decker. I think 2 nades actually came in there. He got down and then instantaneously killed by Bosco's grenade. So, thinking nade though, going to start focusing his sights upstairs on the hookah bar where Joystick and Karzeka lie in wait. Karzeka will make an impact into Cool Vibes. Things will begin to pop up with Redeemer with the plant.
It was off point on the last round, and speaking of off point, well, those 2 players, Redeemer and Chala, are going to be lifted off the point by Shepard. Trays them both down, leaves only 3 standing, but there comes the trade. Both Thinking Nade and Bosco from up on top as well. They're going to try to find impact. Joystick looking to do the same, though. Continues to hold back the members of SSG. Joystick finding another one. Shepard having one of the last members of Space Station locked into a corner here, while the attempt of the plant will finally go down the corner. They've got it pinged though. Joystick's gonna leap in, try to stop this. He's doing it into the corner. He knows he's been found out, but it will not matter. Shepard moves in, eliminates Rampy, leaving Bosco alone in a 1v2, but he knows he's already got one low. That's Joystick, and he's already found the elimination against him. 1 minute and 18 seconds left here too. Bosco can get very creative with this if he wants to, but it does not appear as if that's going to be the case, at least not right now. He's trying to play this incredibly passive fashion. Tosses the drone out to have his teammates assist him here. In the event that he does go for the peek, he might be able to compensate by peeking out himself. Now he will outright check the drone. Trying to see if he can utilize this. Will end up going away, and Shepard lines up the shot on a 11 once again to take out Bosco and pick up yet another round for Empire, tying us up at 3-3 on halftime.
Masterfully done by Shepard, playing directly off of the bomb chassis. Came very, very close, but once again, Space Station just not addressing the upstairs appropriately and getting punished for that, as the diffuser was actually almost down until Joystick decided to lay down on the ground and shoot the planter. So, I mean, again, just, it's the little things. It's always the little things. You have to choose where to take it. If you're going to allow the roam game to have an effect, you have to have a way to counter it, and they definitely did not have a way to counter it. Even bringing somebody with smokes. That could be a thing. Bring Capitao if you want to smoke off the hash where he's and make him commit. Well, okay. Might have another interrogation coming out today.
We've got a lot of odd operator picks here so far.
It's so much fun.
We've had a Frost main on Cash Site back on Clubhouse in the last game, and that was a Virtue, if I remember correctly, that was doing that. Now we've got, I think this is like the 4th or 5th team I've seen bring a Caviera pick into it now. So.
Definitely been a crazy thing.
Well, had a lot of Caviera specifically for some reason.
And it's been successful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hilarious because Caviera used to be such a meme of the competitive community. Everyone's like, oh, she's so useless, so high risk, high reward. Everyone's like, I'll play her. Like, Vertical gets that interrogation clip, and then everyone's like, hey, we can play Cav too.
Hey, this scene's pretty cool. Maybe we can do this. This is pretty hype.
I like people yelling over me, stabbing people. It's fun. It's a good time.
So we'll see once again if the Caviera makes its mark on this round for SSG as they start off their defense. Definitely a map where you should be able to roam around without too much trouble. It's a big map. And for Empire, on the opposite side of things, they're looking to keep these last few rounds that they've chained together at the end of their defensive side in check to be able to follow that through. The same thing on the attacking side. Take control
Attackers have
Their
located
map
a
pick
bomb.
here on Coastline. It's going to be mainly droning coming in from the south side to start things off. They'll move in, probably taking a relatively similar route on these sites that we saw from SSG. The emphasis on Aquarium, following it through into an attempted plant in Billiards there, the A site. That's currently the game. Oh, hates that. There we go.
Actually, ladies and gentlemen, while we do have this little bit of downtime, I do want to say one thing that is going to be a big part of today, ladies and gentlemen. Milos the Medic, Gazan, will be here casting later today, ladies and gentlemen. Out sick, and we don't want to stress out a ton of people. Besides that, it's not Emzo's fault. His voice is kind of going out. But we will have Milos here. He just got off the plane a little bit ago. He'll be here later on today for a couple of matches. So if you're a Milos fan, let's get that spam going in chat for our boy from across the pond, as we will continue down this line of such a competitive map here on Coastline.
What a champ, flying across the pond and then coming right to work.
He's like, I'm energized. I'm ready.
Committed. It's a good man right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you guys thank him. But moving on into this round, once again, we've got Team Empire going for the slow crunch onto Billiards Room as expected. Joystick still playing around downstairs to watch in case there is going to be any roaming presence. There is not a whole lot down here except for potentially Rampy on the Caviera. But he's in a very different position from where Joystick is currently looking for. Rampy, meanwhile, holding just inside of Kitchen for the cool vibe steps, mainly to catch a flank. And that would be obviously a very easy interrogation if he could catch Joystick specifically. So that's what he's looking to find. Joystick, in the meanwhile, does manage to take out at least one of the mute jammers. For the rest of Empire, though, they're still stuck in Aquarium. They haven't been able to make that push to the inside of the actual Billiard site just yet.
Things moving pretty slow for Empire, actually, as they're kind of staring down the exact same thing that they had set up when SSG was attacking. But this time, proving to be a lot more prevalent for the defense and the offense, is SSG did a pretty good job of picking it apart. But it seems like Empire really has control of what they need in order to make this work. Shockwave going to start, that dang name, man. Shockwave, though, gonna start over here on the Tarp's window as he tries to get some presence on the back of sight. As we are entering 20 seconds, and things are about to get a little crazy as he's going to lose a gunfight to Redeemer. Joystick trying to find Caviera downstairs, and he will successfully do so. Switching over to the IQ since the Ash is banned. Shala, want to find one, and it's just a myriad of kills from every single angle. It's 3-2. It's in SSG's favor, though. That might change, though, as Bosco's actually going to find one, and Chola will find the last one. Spacestation going to start this defensive quarter off right with a win.
Chala just trying to push himself further and further into a corner there. You can see he's ducking down, but there's nowhere to run in the final seconds of the round. Has to duke it out with the 5-9. He gets the job done, however, and now allows for Spacestation to take the lead once again at the start of the defensive half at 4-3. Also, obviously much cleaner than we saw from Empire, immediately taking control of the first site that they've gone to over here on the Hookah site, compared to Empire, who I don't think ever actually won Hookah Billiards.
No, they did not.
Yeah.
No. They lost it every single time. That was actually all three of the offensive rounds won
Were Hookah
by
Billiards.
SSG or Hookah Billiards. Yes. The one they lost was Kitchen.
Correct. It was Kitchen, and then 2 at Bar, if I remember correctly.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So,
Your bombs from being
obviously a
defused by
favorite site on
attackers.
the attack for SSG is certainly going to be the Hookah Billiards position if they play for matches in the future. Still have a little bit of work to do on those downstairs sites, but for SSG on their own defense, they'll move over to the Penthouse Theater sites. The second one. This is with the Mira being banned now, so obviously we don't have that option coming in. We do have the Dock coming out, however, for Rampy, in addition to the Clash on Thinking Nade as well.
A little Clash coming out. Thinking Nade's role swap is definitely apparent from when he was playing at USN. There's a lot of differences. No longer has the Buck, playing a lot more supportive ops, but again, doing a damn good job of it. Again, having the highest rating of his team yesterday besides Bosco.
Certainly showing up across the board has been most of Spacestation Gaming. Their tactics have been working out brilliantly for them so far, even seeming to potentially allow them to have a lead against Team Empire, who, at least from an online perspective, has seemed unstoppable leading up to the Six Invitational. It's very much the storyline is who can stop Empire, who can finally cause them to lose a match, especially here on land. And it seems like so far, Spacestation might just be the team to at least contest these guys first.
Empire, going to start things off with a little bit of information game inside of VIP. They're going to see there's a very unique setup going on. They actually have a couple of soft walls on the VIP wall, and Evil Eye getting played next to the feet of Thinking Nate, as well as a shield with Rampy lying in wait behind it. Which is, overall, this could be a very weird take by Empire. There's a lot of things for them to address. Do you try and challenge and try and get rid of the shield into a Doc who can eat a lot of bullets, or are you going to try and get rid of the Thinking Nade with the Clash first? Seems like they're going to go for the Rampy route, as I believe a nade is going to catch out the shield, and then Scyther will be able to clean that one up top.
So the Doc goes down. The first engagement that he will take, no damage being returned onto him or onto the player that took him down either, or on anyone from Team Empire. So it's a clean kill to start off the round for these guys. Meanwhile, SSG still plays close to the chest on the site inside of Theater and the penthouse right now as they wait for the eventual push to come in from Empire. Empire, by the way, we've been on drones for like 70 or 80% of this round so far, so you can tell Empire is spending a lot of time to make sure they don't miss anything so that they can go, I believe, for one very decisive push to just end this round in one fell swoop.
Well, they won't lose for lack of information. We know that for a fact. As they continue to run these drones around the map, they more or less know that everyone is held up inside of the theater room. We only have one person off of site, and that's going to be Chala over here inside of Aquarium. He is going to go on rotate now. He needs to make this rotate quickly, though. The Shockwave will find Redeemer. That's going to mean no more Evil Eyes for the defense. The Shock lying in wait for another kill. Thinking Nate, though, is going to have the information. Shock is going to match up his drone with yet another that was sitting on the balcony.
Joystick as well, starting to work his way up those main stairs for a pinch into Theater. It's very much going to be a battle of whose pinch is more successful. It looks like, however, that the Space Station one has already been read, and look at that. Joystick is ripping the two players in sight to pieces. Chala not having a hope in the world right there. Space Station fall to pieces on the penthouse site. Team Empire take a very definitive round in their favor.
I actually despise those uniforms that they have on everybody.
Oh, the spaghetti uniforms?
Yeah, I heard somebody call them pizza roll uniforms. It's like, oh. I know why they do it. You can blend in with walls with those on specific maps, actually.
It makes you... I think more than anything, it makes it hard to tell like who is who, like what operator is who.
That was a big thing with the banana skins from the Chimera set. It's very difficult. But yeah, I can definitely see how that could make things a little bit more difficult.
So that's what players have gone for a little bit of a tactical advantage, I suppose. We'll see as we get into this next round whether we're going to have a little bit more success down in the kitchen and service entrance sites here for SSG. So obviously Penthouse did not work out too well, and the lack of a Mira really pushed them to the outside of the master bedroom. Penthouse itself without too much of a way to get back into it. Not only that, but they just outright end up getting pinched by Joystick at the end. With no one watching it, no room for a response. And even their flank that was supposed to find massive success through VIP and eventually take out the main push does not find much of an impact whatsoever. So a very successful round for Empire will send Space Station away from the site and over towards another one.
Appears on Clubhouse. Most banned, appears on Coastline. Most banned operators for the boys of the Russian and also Estonian over there on Empire is Ying and Valkyrie. So following that pretty closely, except they did end up banning Mira. I'm going to assume that Valkyrie is in there because traditionally speaking, EU doesn't play too much Mira except for G2. She gets banned out pretty often over in that region, so probably haven't had to ban her out too often, but Valkyrie will be in play for this one at least. So there's going to be a little bit of information, if chosen, that SSG can use. Looks like they are going to go back, set up the site relatively the same. Different site, kind of the same setup, at least upstairs.
Very much going to be the case for Space Station as they look to find success once again. It's been a bit of a seesaw match so far here, with both Empire and Space Station having very definitive rounds into their own favor. Empire, of course, on the defense, just picking up all the sites that aren't hookah and billiards. And for Space Station, absolutely destroying the hookah and billiards attack sites 3 times in a row to tie us up at halftime and keep us tied apparently now as we moved into the second half. Space Station found success on their hookah billiards run, but Penthouse goes the complete opposite direction, and Team Empire take it without too much of a sweat.
And this right here is the danger of Sledge, as Karzeka will make contact with that nade. And I think Nade going to catch that with his body, and it's not going to add up to be too much success for him as he will die. That is the danger of the Sledge as a whole. I mean, he's basically just maverick for soft destruction. He's very quiet, get into multiple locations without anybody really knowing. This has knocked down SSG to just 2 operators left inside of sight, Bosco and Redeemer. Rampy actually has unfortunately disconnected.
We're going to see Scyther picking up one of those final kills, leaving it all on to Bosco. Kardzeka will clean things up, and we'll see Team Empire claim yet another round to a bit of a lead for themselves here now, as once again, they're able to cut ahead by just 1 round over SSG, inching closer and closer to that 7-point mark, however, which is where things will start to get dangerous. Obviously, we'll pause this really quickly just to get our last player from SSG reconnected. It should only take just a second, and then we will get back into it.
So far, as you said, this is pretty much just a teeter-totter of a match. Going back and forth on separate sites. I think the biggest thing for me right here is SSG playing Penthouse. Penthouse doesn't get much play anymore just because it's kind of just been decided on by the community that it's just not a very good site. I mean, all you really have to do is have presence inside a VIP and have somebody hold Hall of Fame door. That's really it. It's a very easy plant, unless they have, you know, vertical pressure from underneath with a pulse or something along those lines. But, again, out of the other sites on this map, I personally believe that is the least defendable of the 4.
No, they still felt that they would be able to pull off a win on it, but it did not end up being the case in that round a few back. And in fact, it ended up being the complete opposite. As you said, it ended up being a very easy take for Empire at the end of the day, as they basically just walked right in, forced the 3 remaining players at that point from SSG to the inside of theater. I believe it was Bosco trying to go for a flank, but that was immediately caught out by Empire, and the other 2 just ripped apart by Joystick's own flank through the main stairs to catch them off guard on the inside of theater. That set them up with a tie, and now, for the first time, they've won 2 consecutive rounds in a row, and that has set them up with the actual lead here at 5-4. Bad news indeed for SSG, unless they can carry through with a few more wins here to bring it back into their own favor. Now, it does appear, as we have the 5th player reconnected, that we're going to be starting this one up. Originally, they were going to go back to Kitchen, but they've got Hookah and Billiards unlocked now, so they're going to head back over to that one, where they had much better success at the start of this half.
And a big thing to address right now is actually most banned operator by SSG on this for attack is going to be IQ. But banning away the Ash to try and take it away from the man that is Joystick. They don't want him to be comfortable on these offensive pushes so far. He's actually seemed pretty comfortable with the IQ, but Scyther, again, the man, the myth, the legend, top of his class, per se, with rating on his team. And actually, Joystick, if you didn't know, being the very bottom in rating of Empire. But he comes up with those clutches, folks, and that's why Joystick is most notably one of the most clutch players in EU.
We saw him coming back into the fold of these past couple of rounds. He's certainly had a lot more effectiveness so far on the attacking side compared to his very, very inconsistent results on defense, where we barely saw much impact from him whatsoever. The attack, it's been a much different story, very much alive and well. We've already seen a nice little double kill come out from him already as he closed out the Penthouse round just 2 rounds ago. It's been Hookah Billiards, Space Station with a very, very similar setup, if not the exact same, for what we saw in round number 1 of this half. For Team Empire, it's time to attempt this again. Right into the same issue we see a lot of teams running into, where they end up getting stuck towards the aquarium and are unable to actually complete the push to the inside. The attempt is one of the few rounds, I think, where Joystick on the attack has actually failed to find impact as well. And as a result of that, Space Station were able to easily shut it down. We do have, by the way, of course, in case you guys haven't noticed this already, the Caviera coming back into the fold for Rampy once again. We already saw this used once on that first round, and he's going to try it one more time to see if it can have as much effectiveness.
So far, these offensive rounds for Empire have drug out quite a long time. Nothing actively happening too quickly, but they are grinding out these round wins. And that's really the important, at least, section of that you want to know. But it does seem like they are going to start this off with more of the same. Joystick on hunt for some roamers, as they will use a very well-placed punch hole and try and gain some vision inside of blue. He's actually going to see somebody on their phone. I believe he's going to try and rotate into blue and shoot him through the floor here. He will start to move. So it's going to be smoke, I do believe. He's going to pop a couple shots, but none of them are going to make any contact. Sadly, timing will be a virtue that Joystick is not currently going to have.
Joystick will continue to wrap around, however, looking for a position where he can impact Rampy actually might end up finding him here in a moment if Joystick isn't careful. He knows he's got presence near him, which is why he's activated the silent steps. So he can quickly get away from here without making too much noise if he needs to. Oh, he's definitely going to get driven out here in a moment, though. Camera's gone. They've got 2 drones on him. Joystick's got him on lock. The immediate ping's going to be out against him. Trying to get rid of the drones, but the problem is Joystick's got him locked in behind the desk right now. He's going to give him a little bit of room to squirm here. Tries to throw out a nade. Won't work out, but thinking nade with the save comes in. Saves the Caveira's life by knocking out Joystick.
Scyther trying to find Rampy on an angle from upstairs inside of the penthouse. It's not going to bear any fruit. Karzeka will hop back onto drone. They need to more or less focus on site right now. Try and burn out some utility. There's only 49 seconds left. You can't play with these roamers too much longer or you will be punished for that. Won't have enough time to execute on a site. Bad news bears, though, is Bosco still has all of his toxic babes.
Karzeka getting ready to commit his grenade to this as well. He's already propped it up, so he's going to be unable to stop it now. Even though the smoke is thrown against him, it will end up being a miss for the most part. The Havana as well, and that will be Shockwave. Will be brought down to just about 1 or 2 HP as well as a result from that smoke. Karzeka also losing almost half of his. Empire being stunted slowly, and now the kills will move in. Rampy on that Caveira picking up an outright kill against Scyther on the outside. The last 3 actually are able to get into a position to attempt to plant. Oh, and the spam coming from Shockwave is able to knock out Chala. Still, though, they interrupted the plant. That's going to be a big problem for them. Now, though, thinking he picks up another kill, we can see Karzeka holding on his own, but at the end of the day, they will stop the defuse, and the time will run out. A near clutch from Karzeka, but just not good enough, as we do end up seeing Space Station hold the hookah and billiards room for a second time here on their defense.
I mean, do we expect anything different from these teams? Just trading monumental blows back and forth, and that was a hell of a round right there. Absolutely grinded out by SSG for that round victory. I mean, trades back and forth all along that round, and actually, Rampy coming up very, very clutch with that window. There is going to be a tactical timeout called by SSG as Lycan feels the need to explain a couple things to, refuel the ship.
It's got a lot of talk specifically aimed at thinking nade there as well. So I'm curious as to what the focus is on, but it looks like the conversation is already coming to an end here soon. And the team just discussing amongst themselves what the plan's going to be for the next few rounds.
Gotta get the hand claps going there, Redeemer. I like that.
Yeah.
I need his mouse, by the way. That white G703, my God, it's a beautiful mouse, man. Jeez. How do I just have to have the standard black one? Gosh dang it. I need like a rare mouse, dude.
A rare mouse?
A rare mouse. You don't see those white G703s that often, honestly.
Maybe he's special.
Yeah,
he's got the hookup.
Maybe I just need to talk to him after, like, hey man, can I have your mouse?
So we'll get ourselves into the next round, of course, and it's going to head back to the kitchen, which so far has gone decisively into the favor of Empire. They'll certainly be happy to head back to this site once they figure out that is what it is. Meanwhile, for the defenders, it's time once again for them to figure out if they can close this out for some reason. It just seems like that site is the only one we can see the guys on SSG able to close out on successfully. So we'll have to hope that that's not going to become an issue for them, being able to only win on hookah and billiards. That will not carry them all the way through to a 6-6 tie, unfortunately.
So we'll be heading down to kitchen for only the second time today. Empire went down here once they did achieve victory. We'll see if SSG can do the same. After that tactical timeout taken by SSG, you're going to expect to see maybe a little bit of change of pace in their style of play. They did really have to grind out that last round, and I believe that's exactly why Lycan chose the time to take that tactical timeout. Give them a little bit of a breather after such a hard-fought round.
Very much the case to let them mentally reset and prepare themselves for what is going to end up being a much more difficult round given the history on this site and really any other site besides hookah billiards for the guys on SSG in this map so far. 5-5 tie. Just 2 away for the win on both of them, but it needs to be 2 in a row, otherwise OT is going to be triggered yet again. It's only on the first map as well. Still got a lot more frags to be found between these two teams. There's a lot on the line for all of our winners matches today, the winner of which will move on into the playoffs starting on Friday. Gives them a few days off, gives them a nice seed advantage moving into that final as well. And overall, certainly leads into being in an advantageous position heading into the quarterfinal bracket starting on Friday.
Yeah, anyone in the loser's bracket currently will have to play tomorrow. It is a big big victory here. If you are able to win today in the winner's bracket, that means you have 2 days off before you have to play any game. That's a lot of time for rest, relaxation, going over a couple of different strats, some stuff you want to fix in VOD review, so on and so forth.
It also gives you plenty of time as Joystick actually gets another spot on the IQ. Nicely done. It also gives you a lot of time to actually just sit back and watch through a majority of the games. With how kind of packed the schedule is, I would imagine teams to a certain extent might be struggling, at least to catch some of the games that might be going on at the same time as theirs, since we have the dual streams going and whatnot. So some teams may be crunched to actually try and watch all these games because there's so many going on in one day. But obviously if you have 2 full days off, that's going to give you so much extra time, as the metal bar has proved to be the enemy of IQ once again. It gives you so much extra time to really figure out your potential opponents and how you're really going to focus on making that run through the playoff bracket come this weekend.
And it's almost comical that we come back from an absolutely hellish month of January, the super month, and we go right back into group stage where we have 2 streams going and a major amount of games as well. But we absolutely love it over here in Montreal, ladies and gentlemen. Besides the cold, I'd say that's the only bit that we're not really enjoying. But 50 seconds left on the clock. If you guys have wondered why we're kind of off topic, there's really not going anything on. But Scyther is going to change that for me, as Redeemer will go down. Empire looking to take their round on Kitchen.
Chala going to look to try and pick one up on his own, but it's Thinking Nade striking first for the SSG side of things. Shockwave seems to think that there is going to be someone behind this desk. He's keeping a close eye on over the spam because in the wrong spot. It's the same on both sides. Everybody going to be missing shots, but ultimately it's Chala that comes out on top. Scyther, however, was able to find a trade onto Thinking Nade. He's going to look for another one. Nice aim coming out from Scyther. Once again, he's an absolute monster. Nearly takes down Rampy. But he's able to dodge down the steps just in time. Still has some stun grenades ready. Problem is going to be time here now. Otherwise, Spacestation will be able to pick this up successfully. Another pickup found by Shepard. Shepard specifically going to be moving in, trying to res another one of his teammates that also ended up going down here. Karzeka, in the meanwhile, pushing into the site to try and open up a path for the diffuser to get in and go for the plant. But no, it's not going to work out. Spacestation, sit back, relax, let the timer run out, as they will claim yet another round, pushing them onto map point first.
And what a timeout there by Lycan. I definitely think that was the appropriate time. You guys saw Spacestation take things a little bit slower, let Empire try and just play into what SSG was trying to do, and it worked beautifully. Lycan, hell of a coach, man, let me tell you. The adjustments that they made there, you guys saw that Chala played very slow at the front desk, did not let any pressure really mess with him at all, and it was a beautiful sight to see, as well as Rampy not trying to take immediate gunfights either. He really bided his time, tried to rotate up main, and immediately when he gets in that gunfight with Scyther, he's like, nope, need to play my life, and just sprints to security, which is exactly what I would have done, because that man almost took his head off. It was so close, so close.
So this is the chance now, the only chance, unfortunately, for SSG to be able to shut this map down. Otherwise, with a response from Empire, which honestly would be the expected result at this point, given how we have traded out rounds in the past. That means we would go to overtime to settle this one.
SSG will begin to set up their site. And the big key factor here is just those anchor players are going to come up huge on this particular site, which is going to be Sunrise and Blue Bar. It's the bar split, as we know so well.
Obviously the wall into the courtyard left completely open so that Empire won't be able to utilize that position as effectively. Or maybe push themselves into the site. It basically becomes a shooting gallery for the members of SSG. They are able to find anyone outside there. For Empire though, drone game obviously will be the name of the game to start things off for them. So they'll be holding back, trying to figure out the setup here for Spacestation before they commit anything too heavily into the building itself.
And I expect this to be another slow take from Empire. It's already seeming to be that way. They've done a very good job with information so far, but I mean, the key note about that last one is that SSG was ready for that late information game. And I think that they're going to be ready for it this time. I think Empire needs to go back to the bare roots real quick, get that speed back that they've been so influential with, trying to shove it onto site.
Sophia going to continue to wait for an opportunity to push himself forward a little bit more. They end up being played by by Scyther. Instead playing on Sledge this time. So he's going to also start to move through with Scyther himself. He's getting a little bit of droning done right now for him to let Karzeka slowly start to inch his way into the site. Remember, that opening into the courtyard also serves as an easy way for Spacestation to move out themselves if they have roaming presence and try to deny any more direct plants in that room, which will, for the most part, probably end up being avoided by that wall as a result of it being blasted open.
as the map slowly creeps into Empire's favor, at least upstairs. We got Scyther down here in office. He's just maintaining contention from the inside of office. A frag grenade will rain through the wall of blue bar, but nothing really going to come of it. Bosco going to dedicate its first Toxic Babe to office. It's only really going to light up Scyther just a little bit. Loses just about 25 HP. Karzeka's looking for an angle to try and find the head of Bosco. That angle is going to be a little bit too tight for him. This is actually a crazy angle. He tries to flick onto the the Toxic Babe in the air. He's not going to be able to find any fruit from that one. As we are just under the minute mark here with basically no damage done to anyone except Scyther.
This is great, though, because I think Team Empire is wanting to engage as many players as possible in hopes of giving them an even gunfight. I just don't know how well that's going to end up playing into their favor. Joystick walks right up on Rampy, who's seemingly not even there, or on a drone or something. But either way, or on a camera, I guess in the case of the defenders, but either way, he's going to find himself getting knocked out of the match. However, Joystick will be caught by Thinking Nade in the meanwhile as he pushes up to Aquarium. Shepard, with really no time left to play with here, is going to be forced into going directly for the diffuser. Nice catch by Karzeka. Takes the Nitro Cell out from the air, and there we go. The diffuser goes down. SSG continue to get wiped out player by player, but Chala's hoping to keep that alive. He's found one in his own, knocking out Karzeka, bringing this into a 2v2. The bad news here for Team Empire is that both Scyther and Shepard have been heavily lit. The same can be said for Chala, though, and they are already in post-plant positions. This leaves them a lot more safer to maneuver. It's a lot less pressure on them compared to SSG right now. Chala, though, already going to be jumping on the counter defuse, but he's taken down by Scyther from across the way. Follows that up with another one. 2 instant headshots from Scyther to shut it all down, giving it to Team Empire, tying us up and taking us to overtime on map number 1.
This has been speculated to be the match of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Spacestation Gaming versus Team Empire, and they're definitely showing why right now. First map, we're already headed to overtime here on the beautiful coastline, as the team that will start offense will be the boys of Empire. Coastline, a pretty split map on defense side. Again, everything in this current meta is defensive sided. So if you get defense, you're a little bit more of a chance of winning that map, but it's nothing that Empire can't deal with. As you guys saw, I mean, we got all the way here. They both won 3 rounds on each side, so it's pretty even right now for both of these teams.
Yeah, pretty much. It was an even 3-3 split on both the halves so far. For some reason, SSG focused very heavily on their wins just on hookah billiards. In fact, I think 5 out of 6 of the rounds won were all on hookah billiards for them. 6 finally was picked up back on the kitchen site, and they took that pause. But the response eventually came in from Team Empire the round afterwards. Just the round you saw now, in fact. Now that has sent us into overtime with a possibility for that. What's up?
Scyther has 17 kills.
Oh, yeah. He's continuing to run that up right now. He's definitely been the highlight player here so far, and it's been on multiple operators, too. Saw him playing a whole lot of Zofia so far on the attack and on the defense. He's been tearing it up.
5 seconds remaining.
Looks like they're going to go back. Relatively the same thing, but just elevated one level. They're going to go back up to billiards and hookah. As they are going to set up the blue bar, relatively the same. No reinforcements dedicated down there. Just going to open up the wall that faces in towards square. Joystick will start his drone game. Last time, came down here, punched a hole, tried to find anybody playing down in the blue/sunrise bar area from office. And he found some success with his rotate over to Cool Vibes, but eventually got taken out as Empire actually ended up losing that round.
Got the rest of Team Empire ready to start their move to the inside here. Shepard actually almost finding himself in a little bit of an engagement after he pops the big window open. Will safely be able to escape. Scyther, in the meanwhile, has now entered the building. He'll start his run through Penthouse to start working his way through the other side. Now, as a reminder, the main focus for Empire in every past attempted take on this site has been to move through Aquarium. They have not really tried much else besides that yet. That is the quintessential attack strategy for these sites, is generally what we see.
Time to make a
But it looks like we might be seeing a slightly different approach this time. There's still going to be presence coming in through Aquarium, but they also have quite a few players messing around with VIP right now, opening up a possible opportunity to pinch out the hallway players from here.
Most of the focus of Empire on Aquarium right now, as things will start to ramp up just a little bit. Karzeka going to show his presence inside of there. His drone will get taken out by an Evil Eye, sadly. But still plenty of time left on the board. They have to disperse a lot of this spaghetti that's been dropped on the ground, or barbed wire. But that's relatively it, as they will rotate Scyther over to handle that situation. things should start to get pretty committed at least. They really don't have anything besides Lifeline as well as 2 smokes in the hand of Doke to really handle these ADSs. That kind of sucks. The only other person that has some expandable throwable utility is going to be Shockwave with his stun grenades.
Kozeka ready to move in with normal grenades that he has to toss out. Unfortunately, off the mark. No one from SSG playing directly behind that wall, as far as I can tell at all. So all these utilities are just going to be completely wasted, as there's nothing to be gained from that attack at this point. Time's starting to get a little bit low, which is why we see the smokes coming out now from Empire. They want a safe plant with enough time left on the clock for them to reattempt it if necessary, which is why they've now started forcing out the Toxic Babes from SSG and from Chalu specifically, or excuse me, from Cisco specifically. Now wait for them to expire. They should have just enough time to be able to move in and go for it. In fact, they found a hole in the smokes. Shepard going to be throwing it onto the ground. The last grenade, one of the C4 is going to move in. It won't find impact. So again, the plant comes in finally for Team Empire here. A 1-for-1 trade will be the way that the battle starts out as well, with Bosco along with Hibana from Empire being eliminated, played by Shockwave.
Really seems to be that nothing really ramps up until after. Poor Rampy gonna get blown up by Claymore on the joystick. But it seems to me that nothing really ramps up until after a defuse goes down. Mute's gonna get caught out. This is gonna be Chala thinking he's gonna go down as well. It's all left up to Redeemer, as he will get taken down by Kozeka. That will put Empire on match point, or excuse me, map point on their particular map.
Right angle taken here by Kozeka in the post plant. Can't really do much to mess them. It's basically just his head, and even then you have the metal bars blocking your perspective a little bit. Definitely not an easy task to take down, so a nice swift cleanup coming in from Kozeka there at the end. And this will set Empire into a very good position, having won that opening attack round on the site that prior to this, the guys from SSG had been flawless on. So now Empire can go to these Blue Bar and Sunrise Bar sites, or really any other site except for Hookah Billiards, and have a very, very good chance of closing it out 8-6.
And we are going to be going back to bar split, as Empire did notice that SSG had quite a struggle trying to get inside of sight there. More or less focusing on that north side where the staircase is to get up to Hookah Balcony, as well as a little off-skirt room right off of Sunrise. This one we'll show you right now. As you guys can see over here at the bottom left of your screen. Scoreboard update for you. Scyther 18-6. As well as Joystick following up with 11-6 on that side of things. But as they do enter defense, Empire looked pretty good on this setup. I think this is more or less just SSG's failure to take this site properly. They've really just started on one side and tried to force the opposition back just from that tiny room, and you can't do that. I would much rather see them trying to do an extended take upstairs, try and get some information, and just try and play for the longer game. I think trying to force that out is just not the answer.
The only issue would be we have tried to see them explore options upstairs a little bit, and it's oftentimes just ended up wasting more time than it helps them gain ground throughout the course of the round itself. So it seems like they are lacking a piece of the strategy that is needed to get them actually onto the site and find that plant. As you said, they've largely just been forcing themselves with a pool entryway, but they've also tried for some upstairs presence too, and has not found much success there, mainly because of the active roaming presence we've been seeing from players like Joystick that have had so much success, specifically on these types of sites that SSG has been struggling
Scanning for electronics.
Once again, SSG will be on attack for this one. As it seems like, yes, they are going to be starting things off a little bit differently. No pool entrance shove this time around, as they will go for an upstairs take. They are going to be able to identify that out on the side of Empire, as Rampy will shoot 90 cam. Looking to go inside of Luggage. EMP going to go off for the side of SSG, as Empire's ready to accept whatever SSG is going to throw at them.
Going down on the roof again to take care of some utility that sits on the inside on the roof area. That's why they are throwing this on the roof. The IQ is spotting the technology right below. The Thatcher grenade is being thrown down to disable them. Obviously, you can't shoot through the very top ceiling. It's impenetrable.
A myriad of holes just punched into the wall right now for Empire. Upstairs, so you got about 25 holes to choose from. You got to pick one and shoot it.
He's got a Plinko board there, I think.
Not very good odds. Rampy going to try and find a nade from underneath. Will this make contact? Will it kill Legion? No, it won't. It actually won't even do any damage.
I think it fell.
I think it actually did. It fell right down the hole. That's just feels bad, honestly. Karzeka not going to take any damage from that. Last little bit of that damage absorbed by the couch that he was standing on due to the angle. Minute 10 seconds left on the clock. This upstairs take is just dragging on for SSG. Not really finding any success as they will finally find some damage on the joystick.
Still a lot of time left here for SSG to get themselves into a take, but they do need to start speeding it up soon now that we're below the 1 minute mark. 30 seconds where you would really have to start getting worried if we're still in a 5v5 at that point. No longer will this be the case. Karzeka able to find one on his own. Looking for more on the outside. He knows he's got a lot of pressure coming in from VIP, but it's too late to adjust for it. Thinking Nate has found the trade against him, bringing us into a 4v4. They are no closer to that site take. We did see an additional player go down for SSG. That's Chala, but he's in a position where we can get him rezzed back up. So, even though we see the res going, he's immediately down to about 2 or 3 HP. Again, not knocked out just yet, but immediately brought down low. SSG time getting incredibly low. They're no closer to that plan as of yet. Only 20 seconds remain for them to make their move here. And meanwhile, you've got quite a few members of Empire still stuck safely on the inside of the bars. Where is SSG at? They need to commit to this push, and they do not have the time to get themselves in. Bosco, Joystick will trade blows. Joystick gets himself a double, but so does Bosco. It'll come down to these two fighting out in a 1 versus 2 situation here. Empire will, however, close it down with Shock and Joystick picking up the final kills, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, Empire will take control of map number 1 of the series, giving them a 1-0 advantage.
Bosco, the most clutch player for SSG with 8 clutches in the regular season, but he's not going to be able to find it this time around as Empire will walk away with their initial map. This mute animation is so cool. I know you guys can't see it, but it is one of the coolest skins that we have inside of this game. But